Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Split Tech City podcast. Today I'm joined by Bartosz Weryho. Hi. Thank you very much for being our guest today. And he's gonna tell us a little bit about himself. How did you get here? That's like my first question, everyone's first question.
All right. So the story started I think in 2019. Basically, me and my girlfriend, we decided we are originally from Poland, but nothing makes us stay there except what we do in our professional life. So we didn't have any kids, any house credits, any car loans or whatever. And then we just suddenly start to see that more and more things we can do remotely. Of course, then Corona hit, which actually helped us a little bit. So because everybody started to work remotely and all the companies started to allow it more and more. So we just decided, hey, let's just basically move. And we had this period of three weeks, okay, so but where? And we could go to Thailand because it's cheap, but it's far away from our families. So if you want to, go back the day after, you have to pay for a ticket quite a lot, and it takes 12 or 13 hours, a lot of connecting flights and so on. So yeah, and then I said look, I've been in Croatia before. It's a lovely place. It's you have this kind of Slavic culture nation. You guys are hardworking. At the same time, you are, I guess, more chilled because you have the sun and the sea and this lovely weather, and the food is amazing. So basically, okay, so let's do Croatia. And I remember we started to okay, so what are the things we actually want? So we wanted to live in a sunny place, wanted to live by the sea, and we want to live in a place where we still have some options, nightlife or things to do, go to the cinema or something. So a little bit bigger city, not like a remote village. So, and then we started researching, and our research was of the place where we want to live began as the most unprofessional research ever, cities in Croatia. And we Googled and went on Google Images, and we started to look at the cities there. And we thought oh, okay, going around, Rijeka's okay, but a bit industrial and so on. And then we just, saw the pictures of Split, and we were like, wow, this place is amazing. And then we started researching more and more, and oh wow, this is the second biggest city here, so it has to offer more possibilities. And it was in a sunny place by the sea, so we okay, so within 3 weeks we actually decided to we're gonna move here. But we did not move until 8 months after, because we made a plan. I do in my professional life, I do a lot of planning and decision making, and so does Eva. So for us, we created a project out of this move, right? So we had posters on the wall for every month what to do, vaccinate the cat, sell the furniture, or apply for this or this paper. So we actually had 8 months of preparation for that. And we also found Karolina, which I deeply recommend. She's a very skilled Croatian teacher. So we actually started to learn Croatian 8 months before we came here. And then a lot of research within our professional life, who is here that is good to talk to? Who is good here that works in my tech field, right? Or what interesting company is here? So that took us quite a lot of time. I mean, it was very liberating in a sense just to get rid of the stuff that you started collecting and said okay, I'm gonna just take whatever fits in the car. And a lot of planning, paperwork, insurances, stuff like that, reading about it, and getting in touch with people in the tech field, at least for myself. So yeah, we made it into a project, and then exactly 1 year and a week ago we came here. So it was actually September. Yes, first we rented a short-term apartment here in the center, and then we had our eyes on an apartment close to the center on Varosh with a beautiful view, so it's super perfect. And that's basically it. Yeah,
that's basically it. So it was a long-term project that was successful in the end because you're here.
Yeah. I mean, it's like this, I don't know, business coaching thing, like people never plan to fail, but they fail to plan. So we did plan correctly, right? So that was nice.
So aside from moving here, you also work in the tech field, as you mentioned.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that. What is it that you do? How did you start your professional journey?
Okay, so my professional journey was, I'm originally Polish, but I lived in Sweden for 10 years as well with my family. I moved there when I was a kid. And then basically I came back to Poland because I wanted to go back there because I felt that comparing to Sweden, people over there are a little bit more hungry. They're like, more ambitious. They want to do things, and I think Croatian people can relate to this a little bit because, we have been through a lot of bad stuff in history, wars and whatnots and oppressions and whatnot. So we kind of know that, like, if you don't do stuff for yourself, nobody's gonna give it to you. Over there is a little bit different, right? So, but that stops ambition a little bit, right? That stops progress a little bit. So I want to go back, so I went back. I started to study business management, English, and both my father and my stepfather have their own companies, and I went to this school and I started to listen to the people there, and I said, oh my God, you have no idea what you're talking about. You are giving me some BS book stuff. Absolutely not. So after a year I said, no, this is not what I want to do. So I changed to actually industrial design school because I always like to do things with my hands as well, besides thinking and strategizing. And there on the third year I met Przemek, which actually was my teacher for I think 2 months or so. And he came there with the first prototype of a 3D printer. And I saw it and I said, yes, this is it, and you are my guy. So we started to talk and I said, like, look, this is gonna be big. We can change the world with this. I mean, let's do this, right? So basically on the third year, I quit as a student, he quit as a teacher, and we moved to a different city and we started Zmorph, which is a 3D printing company that offers multifunctional 3D printers. And that was a wild ride in many areas. That's for another interview. But the lovely thing with this was we became a successful startup in a sense that, like, we were able to scale this company from 4 people in a small room to now employing over 60 people and selling 50 to 60 machines every month. And to have that story, to have this road within you, how to go from a small company to a big one to a global one and be able to see all the development areas, development stages. That knowledge is amazing, and that's what makes me go into okay, so either I'm gonna have my own companies or I'm gonna help other companies, I'm gonna help startups, how it is, and so on. So that was the main beginning of my career, so to say. After 4 years there, because of a family situation, I had to move back to my former city. So, but then of course I had some time on my hands as well. So I started an industrial design office. Kind of now it's more of a project management bureau. So we take products. Basically, we make products, everything you want to make, from industrial design, electronics. We do project management, timeline, Gantt charting, business assessment. Basically, if you have an idea, come to us and let's see if we can do it, right? So that was the other service company, which I'm still running on the side. And after having that for 4 years, I started to get into accelerators and different incubators as a consultant, because they needed somebody that wanted to, have done this road of developing company, and start to guide people there, helping startups, showing them how to strategize, business strategy. I loved it. There was the moments I had 12 teams and I had to work with those ones about the business plans, work with those ones about the product development, work with those ones about design, and every problem, every challenge within this. So I love it. This is super nice, right? So And then I met Pavel actually, and Pavel has been working with the EU funds for almost a decade. And the situation in Poland was the fact that like there is a lot of money to be taken for R&D and research projects. And we started talking, and we said like, you know, you are an expert of EU funds, I'm an expert on tech and scaling companies. We could actually fuse this together and let's just get people money for good projects, right? So we started a special program dedicated for that, and we have been doing that since 3 years, I think now. And basically, yeah, we get people money, which sounds funny to say, but we try to get on board software or hardware companies only, and try to help to get them financing mainly through EU projects. But now we have grown to trying to get like VCs and different kind of financial tools in order to scale them. So everything basically from the time to Zmorph until now that we work as a consultancy is like it's revolves around hardware, it evolves around tech, and it all revolves around, you know, sharing the knowledge that took me 10 years to acknowledge. Basically, yeah, I would say so.
So that was quite a journey there.
There was quite a journey, yeah. I could talk about it much more, don't worry.
But that journey taught you a lot, much more than school did, as you've said. And I guess most of it came from other people sharing their knowledge with you and teaching you stuff along the way, and as well you learning things on your own while on that journey with Zmorph and with other startups too.
So I would say like this, the main things that influence this kind of way of thinking or the possibility to, you know, become an entrepreneur and think in such a way. Well, first of all, both my stepdad and my dad, they had their own companies, and you grow up with that. So you see there is a different kind of working, right? Second of all, I had a pretty good high school, very good actually, where the main idea there was to show you critical thinking, right? So that like, and you had to always question stuff.
Yeah, that's
right?
an important quality to have.
Yeah, and that's a very important quality to have. And then the second school I went to was also the industrial design school. We did not have teachers there. We only had practitioners, and 80% of your grade was on the doing, not on the thinking, on the writing. There was no memorization of stuff. So, you know, you will learn by the practitioners, right? And then also the fact that we are living in the age that we are, and the fact that, you know, my teachers, for some of the subjects, are 13-year-old Chinese kids that do a YouTube video on how to do something.
Yeah.
Or whatever, a guy in the States, a girl in Canada, right? So you have to take that in and actually be able to realize that, like, you know, the school system as it is very obsolete and is very so to say, fitted to what you want. And there is a lot of things that come into it. Like, you know, we don't get to learn about money management. We don't get to learn about project management. It doesn't need to be a big business project, but it has to be a project like, hey, moving abroad, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, planning and stuff like that. So you have to be very decided on what you want, but you have to also acknowledge that the learning, the education is everywhere. I mean, you have internet, basically a lovely age when we have all the knowledge in the world, you know, under our fingertips. Yeah. You have communities, you have, you know, a platform where they offer courses, you have blogs, so like everything you want to learn is out there. It's only about like, do I want this? And like enforce this into you, like, why do I want to make a big goddamn why you want it, and then just go and find it. And that brings me a little bit to you know, how things are here in Split, because there was the same research here, right? When you start to see tech companies and so on, and you try to find people that might be interested or that you want to talk to, and you start to, you know, find people like, you know, Tony, he's doing Split Tech City, you know, there's Michael Freer doing a lot of other stuff, there's Armando doing Split X, you know, there is Spinut Accelerated that have been opened, there's a lot of co-working places, and a lot of companies, you know, I know Parkio include, all other companies like the Luca guys that doing the photo booths, but it's also funny because when you start to research it and then you start to see who is the owner or who is doing what, and you start to contact them, you start to see how much you can do remotely, and how much people know each other, or how the community is, so to say, quote unquote small, right? Because I remember I was talking with two people on LinkedIn, and I just bumped this question, so hey, I'm probably moving here, would you recommend talking with somebody that's into hardware and so on? And they mentioned two names which I already talked with, and it's like, oh, I already talked with them. Oh, so you basically know as much as I do, right? So like the power of internet is amazing.
It's amazing, yeah. And the power of community as well, because
definitely,
as you mentioned, it helps quite a lot when it comes to startups, especially. I think they rely a lot on community and can be helped a lot by having a community that is into tech, whether it's hardware or software.
Definitely. And like I think within the communities, like one of the things you have to practice if you want to be successful in your startup, successful in your business, that is the the mingling part, the talking part, the networking part, because it's like, it is important. And I have many times seen situations that I go to a meeting or whatever, go to a meetup or a place where nothing really happens after I talk with 5, 10, 15 people, right? But from that meeting, somebody introduced me to some other person, which introduced me to some other person, which we had just happened to need each other, and there is a tremendous business idea, right? And tremendous business potential or something like that, or a tremendous fit for whatever other reasons, right? So I think like try to be social, and try to talk with people as much as possible. And even if you're just going for a coffee, you can talk for an hour, maybe there's a one sentence that will change your mind or give you a new idea. So absolutely, right?
True. And do you think it's also important for students and young people to join into a community such as this, which is pretty open-minded? So here in Split Tech City, we don't close our doors to anyone. Everyone is welcome. So do you think students and young people should aspire to, join the community as well as learn? As you said, they have everything at their fingertips.
Absolutely, absolutely. The sooner the better. And one of the main things for that is like, so even though I'm saying that sometimes school or universities are, not fit for what we are doing anymore, however, going there puts you in a group of like-minded people.
True.
So you take that from a system that is not working and you put it in, the system that you are creating with the startups and so on. So then you start to get like-minded people to work there. And absolutely, and I think they should, like I said again, the sooner the better, because they start to see that like, okay, wow, you can actually do things different than, then get a job. You can start to create something yourself, or you meet this guy that is the same age that he already created something, or an older guy or an older girl that you can learn from, and you start like, oh wow, so this route of doing your own stuff or planning or creating something is it's amazing. It's very addictional, I would say. The funny thing is, like, when you once have your own company or startup, at least in my case, I don't know, maybe it's not the case, like you never want to go back again to the 9 to 5
Everyone
work or
that.
whatever. And even though you don't never work 9 to 5, you work 9 to 22. That's the truth, or at least sometimes. And still, it's like, the fact of being your own boss or being your own, leader, or inspiring others, and have people to do like a common aim, common goal. It's super addictive. It's super fun, and it's like, you don't work there anymore.
Yeah, it comes down to love what you do, and then you don't
definitely.
feel like working.
Definitely.
So to come back to the topic of startups, here in Split we have some startups that have been successful, have been known worldwide. We also have a lot of students that are starting their own thing. So what you, as a person that went through quite a long journey in that world, how do you see the startup ecosystem here, and is there something you would like to see improved?
Well, in order to, like, first of all, you already are you are already on a winning position from localization point of view.
True.
I have to give you that. Like, look at
Yeah.
this. Look at this. Like, have a startup go to Munich, Germany versus Split, Croatia, and show them just the one picture of the one place and one picture of Split. 60% would come here, definitely. So that's a good thing. So that aside, in order to, I think, create a good ecosystem for young companies to thrive, you have to engage certain parties. First of all, there have to be a community of experts, experts that can work as guides, right? So whatever, say that you are having an accelerator or an incubator, right? You need a group of experts that can come there and they can teach for a workshop for a couple of days or a couple of hours, right? And it has to be quite a big group of experts for whatever, business planning, strategy, team onboarding, getting finances through VC and stuff like that. Basically, a lot of experts from the business field, different type of business field, specialize in different type of parts of the business. So we have this group of experts, right? The second of all, you need support groups in a sense of administration. So like Split Tech City, or like people that organize like stuff to know, for others to know that, hey, we are doing this, right? So that has to be promotion, that has to be meetups, that has to be festivals and so on, but also be very, in a sense, I would say, aggressive in marketing as well, because a lot of people don't know about stuff yet. A lot of people don't even think in those areas. A lot of people are not interested in those areas, not because they wouldn't be, because they are just unknowing, right? So the supportive administrative structure, right? The third thing I would say is definitely create a money-friendly environment. So get either Croatian investors or investors from abroad, like, hey, we want to build a hub, we want to build an accelerator, whatever it is, but we need investments as well. We need to feel that when people come there, they spend the time there, they also can have afterwards a perspective of getting invested in their idea, right? And fourthly, the community of like-minded people, which I think this is the Split's strongest point so far when I've seen. And if you put this all together, I think you start to end up with an environment that is very, startup friendly, very business friendly, very creative friendly. And the more I look here, being here a year, there is like small hardware hubs starting to pop up. There are meeting groups of different kinds. So yeah, it's you're definitely getting there. I mean, so yeah.
Yeah, it's a growing community. We cannot have things overnight. Yeah. But as you said, there are already some quite positive points that promise bright future here. So to go back to this here, is there something like that really wowed you once you came to Croatia? Is there something that you were like just, said, wow?
Oh, there are so many things.
So many
things. Okay, let me give you a few. So first of all, the sheer amount of sun that is here. Oh, I loved it. And you remember, I used to live up north, so we didn't have a lot of that. So I love that. And sheer amount of sunny days. The fact that living here, you are within 15 minutes to the closest beach. And when you have a 2-hour, the whole between the meetings, you can just bike there, have a dip in the sea, and just go home back, or go back home, continue working. That's lovely. Third, the food. Like I'm in love with the seafood. Like just the fact that, like, you know, the scampi is so cheap here. It's amazing comparing to when you go up north. So absolutely the food, the sun, the weather, but also the fact that people in Split are more relaxed in a way that I don't know how to say it, but I still do a lot. And me and my girlfriend had this talk that she also feels that we still do a lot in our work life, but we are more chilled down on an everyday basis, right? And you know, they are not in such a hurry on an everyday basis, which I think if you have this from the just sheer amount of people everywhere, it just gets you to think like, hey, so maybe I can slow down a little bit too, you know? And so yeah, absolutely, that is super good. And the people are extremely friendly, even though it's a kind of a touristic city, which I thought like, oh, they need, sooner or later they're probably going to be, you know, fed up with all the tourists. I never seen a bad situation. There's like, people always smile, they always greet the people, you know, with a big smile on their face. So that's surprisingly nice, I would say.
Yeah, to see on an everyday basis.
Yeah.
And yeah, everyone mentions that kind of a work-life balance that we have here because of that slow down way of living. So you think that improves the quality of life overall?
I would say, you know, within this, there is also a problem, right? Because it's okay to be relaxed. It's okay to have work-life balance. It's okay to take care of other areas of your life. But if that's chilling out affects how you drive your enterprise, how it affects your startup, how it affects your business, well, you know, then it's going to be somebody's going to outrun you. Yeah. Somebody's going to outperform you. Somebody's going to outdo you, right? So like, be chilled down, be relaxed, have time to go to the beach, you know, eat nice and so on, but be very, like, you know, oriented with what you want. And the fact is, like, from even the simple sun perspective, right? If everybody going to the beach and you say, no, I need to work for 4 days, you're still gonna have sun for many more days.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. In other countries, people like, you know, they have the 2 months of sun in the summer, and if they miss it, they miss it. They're back to the dark again, right? So yeah. So don't let this affect you in a negative way, right? Yeah. I would say that. Be very watchful of your goals, and, you know, how much are you moving forward, and so every day, right?
Yeah, to have both things.
Yeah.
The work and the life.
Yeah, and of course, and there is no given formula for that.
Yeah,
because
true.
You know, this given it depends on who you are as a person. It depends on what business you are doing. It depends on if you are yourself in your business or you have a team to manage, right? It depends if it's software or if it's hardware. It depends if it's within tourism or if it's with the marketing, right? So you have to really try to find that formula. Read a lot of books.
Yeah, and find your own formula.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Thank you very much for this lovely chat, for all the points you've given us. And I'd invite you all to follow us on social media as well as on Split Tech City's website to see more content like this in the future. Bye!